Hey Hexicans, David Feeder here. How's it going? This is the video you've all been waiting for. I think I've finally cracked the code, and what I've built here is I've made a script that we can just copy and paste line by line into the terminal, and it'll build the validator like step by step. Before we do that, this is like a blank Ubuntu. Just that if you follow the last video I did the other day, if you have your own validator at home, like a little mini computer that you got, or this could be a computer in the cloud, a server in the cloud, that's fine, or an actual server, that's fine. We're running Linux 22.04 LTS long-term support, and we've installed it off the USB stick. So this is blank, like default. First thing I like to do is just go to the software updater here in the GUI. We're just going to run this real quick, make sure if, there's no updates, and just get this thing sort of fresh. Okay. The one other thing you kind of got to do here to prep is we're going to assign this a static IP address. And to do that, up here in the upper right, you got the little network button. Looks like a couple computers connected together. You can click on that. Then click on wired connection. Then we're going to go to the wired settings. And then over here, we're going to go to the, see where it says wired connected. You can go all the way to the gear on the right, click the settings gear. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on IPv4. And then you can click on manual. And then what you can do is then you set the IP address. If everybody's setup's a little different at their home or data center, wherever you are, this depends on what your firewall is handing out. If you're not sure about this and you don't know, and you just have a basic firewall router Wi-Fi from your, Comcast or Cablevision or whoever your internet provider is, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be, I'll show you like some defaults that might work for you if you just have a normal home setup. So we just type in 192.168.1.240. All right, and for the nerds out there asking why, I think most homes start with 192.168.1, and then the last number is all the different computers. Usually 240 is out of the DHCP range that the firewall's automatically handing out. Normally it's like 100 to 200 are being handed out automatically. So we want to go higher than that. So this might work for you at home, maybe, but you got to have to Google this and figure it out yourself. Network mask is going to be 255.255.255.0. And then my gateway is going to be 192.168.1.1. Okay. And then we hit apply. That might work for you at home. If you have like a default plain vanilla router from like Comcast, that might work. So for me, this is like a virtual machine. I'm just going to set it on automatic for me for this one, but you'll have to pick one. All right, cool. So that's like the bare minimum. Now, normally now you would do other things to harden this operating system, make it more secure. I'm not covering any of that in this. That we'll do separate videos for that. All right, so let's get into it a little bit. Before we actually dive in, I want to do some shout outs. Because I was standing on the shoulders of giants, basically. There's a couple people who I learned from over the past like 4 days where, because I've been building the script and a lot of the stuff, you got to put it together. So these are the people who their content or they help me directly. So I just want to shout them out. First one is Alex from Icosa. Saved my ass the other day. He had a couple commands that were crucial to the script, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. So shout out to Alex, the inventor of Hedron Icosa. We were actually in the PulseChain dev chat, the public one, and we were just in there chatting, and he helped me out. I was asking questions, and he totally had my back. So great guy. Really appreciate it. Next person I want to shout out is actually Thorsten. I think his nickname is Yorick. He's actually works for Cisco, but he's part of like the ETH Staker team, and they have a YouTube channel. And Thorsten's kind of, in my opinion, like he's built a really cool tool. He's like the brains. They have some cool videos at the ETH Staker YouTube channel you guys can check out. And I watched like most of these, right? I've been watching these for a while because they basically apply. We're forking. And so awesome dude, huge shout out to him. A lot of great material from him. And one tool that he's built that I actually want to fork for PulseChain, but it's going to be hard and a lot of work. He actually invented something called ETH Docker. And it's like so Thorsten made a tool for the Ethereum people that's even easier than what I'm about to show you. He made like a next GUI. It asks you questions and then it does all the work for you and builds it. Amazing. And he put that out on the GitHub. You can use it. It's free. So what I'd love to do is I want to fork this and we'll call it PLS Docker. So it's going to take a lot of work and we'll see what happens, but awesome stuff here. So very cool. And the next shout out I want to do is to Gamma DevOps, who's been in the community, and he's also got experience running all kinds of validators. He was just on with Maddie the other night on, I think it was 2 weeks ago, on Game Theory Gang on Tuesday. So shout out to Maddie as well and Brizology. Love those guys. But Gamma DevOps was on talking about validators, talk about what he knows. His Substack was a big one on day one. This was a huge help for the basic template. He had a lot of the commands here that he put out. This was just like a very bare bones kind of guide that has kind of everything you need. And what I've done is I've taken this and done some changes, and I want to run it in Docker. And then, oh, yep, this is the ETH Docker that Thorsten made. So pretty cool. So those are the shout outs to those guys. So what I've done is now I made a script and I've put it on gitlab.com/DavidFeeder and then /validator script. And then there's a project in here. If we click on it, there's actually only one file, and it says PulseChain v3 script.txt. And what I've done here is line by line, I've put all the commands I think we can do in order. We just copy and paste this stuff right into the terminal, and boom, you're done. Yeah, that's it. That's all you have to just copy and paste. You don't think about anything. You don't have to do anything else. This should be everything. Like bare bones, the core. Like this is the minimum viable product. This doesn't have any hardening. This doesn't have any customizations. This doesn't have any optimizations. This is just like the minimum, So, because it's testnet, right? We got to at least get it up and running before we can make it fancy. So now what I'm going to do is, I think there's a way to, there's a button right here. You can just download this file. And I've already got it. And it just opens it in a plain text editor, text file. This is the easiest way to use it, I think. So we're just going to copy and paste right from here. All right, so now we can begin. So this is the script. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go down here to applications, and we're going to open the terminal. And then I'm just going to slide over to the left. It'll take up half the screen. And I'm going to slide the notepad to the other half. All right, cool. So here we go. So now we're literally just going to copy and paste these lines line by line. Yeah, I'll just use the mouse here. It's not the fastest, but we're just going to do it nice and easy. So Control-C. On the terminal, you got to right-click and paste, and then just hit Enter to make it nice and easy. Now it's asking for our password here. And it's installing. I'm going to try to go through this quickly because there's a lot of commands. I'm not going to explain them all or what they're doing or what it all is. You can watch Thorsten's videos there'll be other videos. I'll make more videos, but we'll talk about it later. I'm trying to just keep this to the tutorial. All right, so let's get the next line. This is going to update the packages. All right, cool. Oh, actually, all right. I made a little error here. I missed the end of this line. CO2 goes down a little bit, so you got to pay attention for that. So let's grab that again, and let's just paste it. It's not a big deal if we miss one or botch it. It'll just throw an error. All right, cool. Let's set through those upgrades. Now we get down to this one. We're just going to do these one by one. And you'll notice here, this one looks a little different. When there's a slash on the end, this kind of continues the same command, but it lets us just copy and paste it in a different line. So it's nice and easy. Just hit enter, copy, paste. So what these are just different programs that are needed. See, I hit Control V to paste in the terminal, and it goofed it up. I hate when that happens. So I tried to make this as easy as possible, so we don't even have to think. We can just copy and paste. All right, cool. So these are like prerequisite programs. It says, do you want to continue? You're going to hit Y and hit enter. All right, cool. Finished installing all the programs. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open the required firewalls ports. And it says, if it's successful, it says rules updated, rules update v6. So this is for the firewall. We're going to allow this, all like geth and stuff to talk. Okay. Grab 13,000, 3,000, and 9,000. Cool. All right, now we're going to grab some of the prerequisites for Docker. So I'm on line 20 here. Cool. We're on 21. Then we grab 22, which is a big one. And these are just the prerequisites from Docker, from their documentation. Cool. Now we're going to do another update here on line 25. Cool. Okay, now line 27, we're going to install Docker and all of its components. And Docker it's going to let us run all the PulseChain software inside of like a little, it's called a container. So that way it's not running on our actual Linux machine. It's inside of like a little virtual machine, little box, and it just keeps it separated. And all the stuff that the PulseChain needs, all the dependencies and prerequisites, they're contained within the image. And we're just going to download it right from the official GitLab PulseChain, because the PulseChain devs make the images, and we're just going to download it and run it. And they've already done all the work. So that's why we're using Docker. Okay. Docker's installed. So now we're on line 29, which is we're going to make a folder called blockchain. And we're going to grant full permissions to everybody on this blockchain folder. Now, this is not best practice security. This is just testnet. But I just wanted to do just to get it working. Okay, so now we're doing CD. We're moving into the blockchain folder. We're going to make another folder called PW. We're going to change permissions on that to everybody. We're going to go into the PW folder with CD, PW, line 34. And then we're going to run line 35, which is nano. This is a text editor. So here we go. So we're going to click that. Okay, now the screen's changed here. Now line 36, I put an asterisk. That means this is it's a remark. It's a note. You don't type this in the command. You just read what it says and just follow it along. So it says star for remark. Enter your Prism wallet password. So you're just going to make it up. It's a whatever password you want. This is going to be the password for your Validator wallet. So, you know, make sure it's pretty long, but just save it in here because the server is going to use it later when it auto reboots. It reads this file to unlock your wallet so it can start validating. So I'm just going to do password. Okay. So pick a password, and then we're going to hit, let's take a look here what it says. It says hit Control X, and then we're going to hit Y, and then we're going to hit Enter. Cool. Now we're back out. We added the text, and then we saved it, and then we exited the file. And now we're on line 37. We're going to go back to the root directory. Cool. All right. Now we're on line number 39. And this is going to use SSL. It's got to make a little, it's actually called a hex file, funny enough. And it's like a key that the software needs to talk between the pieces. That's all I've got to do. All right, line 41. So this is starting the actual first piece of the like PulseChain software that's Geth or Go Pulse. This is like the Ethereum 1 execution client. That's what's called, execution client. So type that in. Okay. Okay, it's downloading the image from the GitLab, and boom. Now it's running in the background. All right, so we're going to let that run. That's doing its thing. The next part we're going to do, this is the, we're using Prism, and this is our consensus client. This runs the beacon chain. So we grab this right here, line 48, paste it in. Okay, then we grab line 50. Okay, now we're on line 51. So right here where it says line 51, where it says suggested fee recipient, and you see this Ethereum address right here? This is like my Ethereum address. You need to put in yours. This could be from your MetaMask. Maybe you have a Ledger or a Trezor. Ledger or Trezor would be ideal, a hardware wallet, and put in one of your addresses that you control. Doesn't really matter which one, as long as it's yours. Your Ethereum address. If somebody was going to send you ETH, put in an address here where you would receive it, and you'd be happy that it came to you. So change that to your address, okay, for line 51. All right, let's go ahead and grab this. And then line 52, the Bootstrap node. A huge shout out to Alex here. This was one of the ones he gave me. This is, our server's going to reach out and talk to this guy as like the first other validator or node it talks to try to get the blockchain. And then what we do is line 53, which is also from Alex, is the minimum syncing peers required is 1. So we just need one guy to talk to us, which is this guy. Normally it's 3, and it wasn't working. And enter again. All right, downloading the software. And it's running. Cool. So that's running in the background now too. That's our beacon consensus client. Okay. So now we're on line 55. Now this is where we're going to go ahead and make our validator private keys. All right, so 55, paste that in. And line 57, we're going to move into that folder. And line 59, we're installing Python. And we're going to push, it says down here, do you want to continue these updates? Yes. Why? Yep. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to grab line 61. This is just installing pip3, more prerequisites. We got to wait for it to finish. All right, cool. All right, so let's paste in 61. That'll install that. We're going to copy 63. We got to wait for it to finish. So this is building Python, and this is some of the stuff that's required for the staking deposit command line. This is what's going to give us our validator keys. And this is actually going to give us like seed words, like 24 words like MetaMask. And you got to save them just like regular seed words, just like your regular MetaMask or your Ledger, your Trezor, or your Staker app. Like this is, this is going to give us those, and we need to save them. So metal, or write them down, and you got to take care of them, just like normal. All right, cool. So we'll do line 63. And then 65, we're actually going to install the software. Cool. All right, now we're on line 67. So this is where it actually is going to run the software. So same thing here. There's an Ethereum 1 withdrawal address. You got to change it. You got to put in your address. Okay, this one's mine. You got to put in yours. This is just testnet, so it doesn't matter if you forget or something and the fees go to that address. It doesn't matter. It's not worth anything. But in real mainnet, you got to change this part right here to your Ethereum address. All right, so let's actually want to make sure I get my cursor all the way down there. Cool. Okay. So we're on line 67. All right, now it's running the program. Okay, so now it's asking us a question here. Pick your language. I'm going to push 3 for English. Push enter. Okay. Now we have to make a password. We could use the same password that we used earlier, that we saved in the in the text file. Two entered values do not match. Please type again. All right, so I screwed up, so it's asking again. You know what? Let's actually go ahead and look. Let's double check, which we can do too, I think. So if we go to block, I'm just opening up the little folder, go to our blockchain folder. We're going to go to our PW folder. There's pw.txt. I'm actually going to... All right, so I go with capital P at 55W0RD1 bang. Please don't use this password, use your own. It says they don't match. I screwed up my keyboard here. There we go. I was just typing in wrong. Okay. So it says, this is your mnemonic seed phrase. Write it down and store it safely. It is the only way to retrieve your deposit. And then here's the 24 words right here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to copy these. And I'm going to open a new text file. A new one, brand new. I'm going to paste it in. We're going to save this. I'm going to save it on the desktop. And I'm going to call this val. I'm just going to call it val key. Now, you would write this down on a piece of paper and then put it on metal and save it somewhere and hide it in your house. Okay, this is a virtual machine. I'm going to delete this because it's exposed to the internet. Never show anybody these words. Never tell anybody. You know, you can't. You know, this one's burnt, right? Because I'm showing you guys on YouTube. So don't. But this is just like your normal wallet. Okay, got to protect this. This is your validator. Okay, we've written it down. Now it's going to ask us to type it back in. So I pasted it. Boom. It's creating the keys. And it's done. Great, success. Your keys can be found in the folder. Awesome. Press any key, and then we're back at our prompt. All right, let's put away our mnemonic, and let's grab our script. All right, that was line 67, so we're moving on to 69. Nice. And let's grab that guy. Okay, line 70. Line 71. So this is the actual validator. Line 72. Line 73. Line 74. Downloading the software from the PulseChain, the GitLab. All right, cool. Okay, so now it's asking for a password. Oh, okay. So this password that we're going to put right here, this one has to match. The last one we just did for the validator key, I apologize, I was mistaken. That one doesn't have to match. You can use a different password for that one. This one has to be the one that's in the text file. This is the Prism wallet. So I apologize. I kind of switched those up. But you can set these to whatever you want. Just use a good password. Cool. Okay, so it was me. It's maybe my keyboard. I don't know. Didn't like it, but I kept typing it in. Now I got it. So it successfully imported one account. Awesome. So now that it's got the wallet loaded. All right. So now we're going down to where are we? 76. And this is actually going to start the validator. $77. $78. So this is pretty easy. I mean, we just copy and paste. 79. Do 80. Okay, line 81. So this is graffiti. See where it says David Feeder template? You can change this to whatever you want. You can type in whatever you want here, and it's going to stamp the blocks that your validator makes. It's going to stamp it with that graffiti, and you'll actually be able to see it on Etherscan. So type, or do what you will with that. So feel free to change it to whatever you like. Error. Response from Dave in conflict. The container name validator is already in use by container. Okay. So I missed some steps here. So what I forgot to do was in between these commands, sudo docker stop 180 validator sudo docker container pro. Okay, I'm just updating what I. All right, so I missed two steps here. So what we need to do next is we need to do sudo docker stop -t 180 validator. And I'll update the website so you'll already see this in the script. You can just follow along, but I'm going to do this live. All right, we have to stop the validator that we did before. And then we have to prune it, get rid of it. Do we want to stop the containers? Yes. Now we can start the validator. Okay. All right, we should be back on track now. Okay, there's our graffiti. Cool. All right, that's good now. Now it's cooking. All right, so it's all running in the background now. These last commands here. So we're on 87. This is gonna, this will make it automatically restart. Like if you lose power or if you turn off your server and then turn it back on later, this makes it so that they will auto start and you don't have to do anything. This will always work. All you gotta do is plug it in and give it an internet cord and it will work. And then we're on 91. Cool. And then the last three commands, these last three are just going to let us watch what's happening. So I'll show you. So line 93, sudo docker logs follow geth. We're going to see what's going on with our execution client. So we can see here, let me maximize that. So this is geth. This is like old school Ethereum, the old blockchain. And now we call it the execution client. This is Go Pulse. It's syncing now. It's downloading blocks from other nodes out there. So that's what we want to see. Perfect. And what I like to do is I actually like to, you can either do it horizontally like this, or you can do it vertically. We'll just do it horizontally like this for now. Okay, now we're going to do sudo docker logs follow beacon. This is line 95. So this will show us our beacon chain node that's running. Let's see what it says. Okay, not connected to ETH1. Peer summary, one active peer. Called a new payload. All right, cool. So it's waiting for this to finish syncing. And then once that syncs, then this will sync. And it is syncing. I mean, you can actually see it sync new blocks. It's working. And then there's one more we can watch. So let's open up a new terminal. Let's go back to our script here, and we're going to follow the validator. Let's see what the validator says. This is like the last piece of software. There's like three parts. There's the execution client, there's the consensus client, and then there's like the validator, which is part of the consensus client. Cool. So this is waiting for deposit to be observed by the beacon node. So the validator is waiting. We got to deposit the money, or the 32 million test pulse, which we're going to get. That'll be next. Beacon syncing and geth is syncing. So there you go, guys. That's pretty much it. It's syncing. It's up and running. That was it. So now what you got to do is, so in reality, so you got to let this finish. You got to let this sync. When this is all done, you'll see how it says age, and then it says like 6 years, 10 months right here. That's literally how much Ethereum blockchain history it has to finish downloading. You got to let this get to 0. You got to let it catch up. And then same with this one. And this will always stay like this on the validator, waiting for deposit. All right, so you got to let those cook. Depends on your internet and your hard drive and stuff, but Usually takes hours. Probably come back the next day, let this cook overnight. Once it's fully synced, then we can go to the PulseChain Launchpad. And actually, this is the first tab. Yeah, launchpad.v3.testnet.pulsechain.com. And then we're going to click on Become a Validator. And there's a nice checklist here. We're just going to breeze through it because we're not actually doing all of it. So deposit, you got to deposit 32 million test pulse per validator. This is non-reversible. Withdrawing your deposit will not be possible until after a later date. Yeah, this is a one-way ticket. Once you put the 32 million in, you can't get it out until Ethereum gets the Shanghai upgrade, which hopefully soon, but who knows when that could be for those guys. So we're stuck like them until they do that. So accept terminal. To become validator, you can be able to run commands in the terminal using your computer. Well, we just did it, guys. Congratulations. If you've got this far and followed along and did it, you made it. Uptime. You only get rewards if your software is running. If you're down, you lose. It'll actually delete a little bit of pulse out of your wallet for every, I think, hour you're offline. I'm not sure the exact slashing rules yet, but try to cheat the system, which really won't happen. Now, running your validator keys simultaneously on 2 or more computers will result in slashing. If you do exactly what we just did and install all that software again and set it all up, and you're also running another one, if you run 2 of them at the same time with the same validator keys, it will slash them. It will delete your pulse and you will be kicked out of the network. So you only want to run one computer at a time. You don't need like a backup or a hot failover. You just want one at a time. That's how most people get slashed. Your mnemonic phrase, the 24 seed words that it gave us, you got to save those. If you lose those, you will lose your validator. You lose all your pulse. It's gone. Yeah, the only way to withdraw later is with those seed words. So save those. Commitment, can't transfer this. You're not getting it back. You need to be in this for the long haul. You can't transfer your stake or withdrawal. Yeah, until the Shanghai upgrade. Yeah, see, yep, called it. So there you go. Early adoption risks. Yeah, there could be bugs, which just break, and then we get slashed because of bugs. So you might just lose your pulse for something that's not your own fault, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're not getting a refund. You're not getting your pulse back. Shit's gone. So if you're scared about something like that, if you're, don't do it. Then don't be a validator. Just hold your coins. There's another checklist you can do. Great. Yep. Okay. So choose your execution client and set up a node. So we did Go Pulse. So you click on Go Pulse. We say continue. And we did Prism. So we click on Pulse Prism. Continue. How many validators are doing? We're just doing one. So it's going to be 32 million pulse. We got to send in to the contract here in a second. What's your operating system? Linux. How do you want to generate your keys? We already did it. We're cool. Save the key files, get the validator ready. You should see that you have 1 key store per validator. Yep, we already did all this. I'm keeping my keys safe, and I've written down my mnemonic phrase. Okay, upload the deposit data file that you generated. All right, cool. This is easy. All we have to do is open the little folder button here. And then we're going to go to the staking deposit CLI. Oh, sorry. We're going to go back up. We saved it in blockchain. And then validator keys. And then it's looking for this deposit file that starts with the word deposit. You're going to drag that over and drop it onto the PulseChain website here. And it'll give you a check mark here because it wants deposit.json, the file from that folder. So this was home blockchain validator keys. Deposit. Continue. We're using MetaMask. Connect our account. Oh, yeah, I'm not connected to the V3 on my MetaMask. I literally just downloaded it. So and I don't even have the test pulse in this wallet to show you. So basically all you do is you connect the wallet, and then it wants you to send 32 million pulse to that contract address, and you just send it in, do the MetaMask transaction, and boom, you're done. That's it. Once that's done, then you should start seeing updates here. Like it'll change. And then this as well right here, your validator, you should see it. It'll start signing blocks, and it's because it says waiting for deposit to be observed by beacon node. So once you deposit the 32 million pulse, it'll go through and get processed, and then this will change. And that's when you know it's working. That's about it, guys. All right. That's how to be a validator in as minimal fuss as possible. Copy and paste, no nonsense. I'll be doing more videos on how to, secure the Linux server, and maybe we'll do some more fancier stuff later. But yeah, this is welcome to Testnet v3, everybody. All right. So that's all I've got for you today. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, leave any comments below if you have any questions. Join the Telegram. We're all in there. And yeah, talk to you guys later. All right, bye.